Hello, I'm Max Mosely, and for those of you listening to this podcast in stereo, I will be coming out of the speaker on the far right.
Hello and welcome to Gareth Jones On Speed, and despite the best efforts of that which has become known as the Beast from the East, both Richard and Zog made it here. Richard, hello.
Hello.
You got here because you arrived in a 4x4.
So I came out of the house this morning, I had to go to West London and then come here, and I had a choice of two cars. I had a rear-wheel drive Porsche 911 on some quite low-profile summery tyres, or my Land Rover Defender, which is on mud and snow tyres.
Probably the better choice that you came in the Defender.
Yeah, because
Probably.
Last time when it snowed, I just moved my Porsche down the street to get it away from a junction where I thought it might get dinged by someone sliding out of control. And I just moved it down the street, and just trying to park it, I tickled the accelerator to just move it into the space, and it slid sideways, and I almost curved my own back wheel and possibly knocked the alignment out. And didn't. It came to a stop about half an inch from the curbstone, but I was like, right, not driving that again.
The Stuttgart gods were with you on that day.
Yeah, I guess so.
Zog, you didn't have the option of a four-wheel drive vehicle designed in 1958, was it 48?
Before snow was invented.
Yeah. No, I only had the option of a late 80s rear-wheel drive German sports car.
Ooh, but don't forget the transaxle gearbox. I mean, your weight distribution is good.
Oh yeah, the weight distribution is bang on, but...
How was the end part of the journey, though?
Well, the first part I was pretty happy with. I mean, it's treacherous out there, but I was super ginger on the pedals and feeling quite happy, almost smug by the time I got over here. Until I tried to find somewhere to park here, and the snow had started falling again, and there was that sort of thing where there's a little film of fresh snow on the road. And between that and the camber on the roads here, they sort of fall off at the side of it. I mean, I had the most ridiculous time just trying to, at one point, turn around and then park. I've been sliding all over the place. Interesting enough, the things like, you know, a speed hump just at the end of the road will then sort of cause you a real problem, because I was trying to turn around by reversing back down one road and then like the Y turn.
Yeah.
Because the back wheels got up against this speed hump and there was ice and snow under them, they wouldn't go anywhere other than sideways.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Is it that you crumped it slightly?
I did slightly crunch the front end when it slid sideways wildly on one of those crazy N16
Sorry about
camber roads. Hey, not bad.
I remember years ago, remember when I had that Jag XJR, and again, a powerful rear-wheel drive. Yes, and that was on Pirelli, I can't remember, not winter tyres, basically. Powerful rear-wheel drive car with a slightly slack traction control on it, which allowed a lot of wheel spin. And
I think they're called Pirelli Mediterraneans.
They are, yeah. And I was on a heavily cambered residential street trying to escape in thick snow just to get the car out of there. And it was sort of 20 minutes of permanently on the verge of having an accident into either a curb or another car. The whole time I was just sitting there going, no.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned tyres, because I've just acquired another set of wheels and tyres simply in order that I can swap my current wheels off and fix them up a bit. They've got horribly tatty and I want to get them powder coated again and just get them back in shape. And I figured I'd get that done and then I can sell the other wheels when I'm done. But I'm now thinking maybe I should hang on to them and put winter tyres on that second set. Because
Good idea.
Yeah, it would make a big difference in conditions like this.
I remember going down this road in my Cappuccino many years ago when we'd had a particularly snowy period. It's amazing that it does actually snow in London, and because of the density of people, you'd expect it not to snow up. You know, there's enough heat here, but it can happen occasionally.
That heat island effect, as they call it, is actually very small.
Oh, really? Yeah, you see, good with the maths. But I remember going down in my Cappuccino and getting to the spur in our road where you turn left, and I turned and nothing happened. And of course, it's just a short wheelbase, the Cappuccino. It just sort of eventually just slid quietly with the camber and settled up against the curb. Luckily, no harm was done, but I was, exactly as you said, no, you're in slow motion.
Horrible slow speed
accident. It's nerve-wracking,
it won't hurt, but it'll just damage your car enough that you should probably get it fixed.
That would hurt.
Yeah, it's embarrassing rather than anything else.
So here's the thing, actually, funnily enough, this just reminded me, my wife's car got dinged by somebody while it was parked. This was before the snow. and his insurance is taking care of it, so it's finally gone into the body shop to get fixed up. They've given us a courtesy car, which is a Mercedes E-Class. It's actually through a hire car company. A hire car company dropped it off at our house, and the bloke said, can you come and look round it, that usual way that hire car people do. So I go out as this E-Class saloon, went round it, bodywork's all fine, but the wheels curbed to billio.
Oh,
you wouldn't
really?
believe the state of them. Every wheel has had a number done on it at some point. And I went, well, the wheels are quite curbed. He went, oh, we don't worry about curb wheels. We don't put them on there. No, it's just too much hassle to administer trying to get people for curb wheels. So as a consequence, I actually said to my wife, I was like, if you fancy curbing wheels, because I hate curved wheels, I've drilled it into her. Oh, I was like, never curb the wheels in the car. If you curb the wheels in the car, you've got to get them fixed. I hate curb wheels.
Correct.
Go and curb the wheels if you fancy. Go and curb a couple of wheels for fun. Because you might as well, because the hire companies don't seem to give a fig about it.
Best handling car in the world? Rental car. Yeah. So if you've been out there driving in the snowy conditions and you've had difficulties, we sympathise. I'm very pleased that On Speed has managed to come to your ears despite the best efforts of the weather. And despite the best efforts of the weather, there has been some limited testing of the new F1 cars in Barcelona this week.
They did actually have snow at Barcelona.
Yeah. That was this morning. We're recording the show on the Wednesday. They were talking about adding another day on Friday or something, but they can't agree on it, so
what?
They'll have to wait till the... Yeah, they can't agree. It's crazy. But we've had a chance to look at the new cars. And I thought we'd discuss the new 2018 cars.
Sorry, I can't get past this. What can't they agree on?
I don't know.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
They were ready to go on Wednesday. It was snowy, so they all paused. So then what?
I mean,
Just what?
You would think, just as saying, hey guys, it's a bit nippy out there, let's do this tomorrow, or let's do this Friday. Somebody's just got to disagree for the hell of it. Somebody's just got to throw a spanner in the works because they want to...
A Spaniard in the works.
They want to screw someone else's testing. I don't know. I don't know.
Those poor people, how do they ever get anything done? So, Zoe's got his laptop up here, and we're going to have a look at some of the cars.
What shall we
and
take a look at
discuss.
first?
Your choice. Let's go in order. Let's look at the McLaren at the top
from
there.
The top there.
Yeah. This is a detail I've got of the rear suspension of McLaren. I've never seen anything quite like this before, but there's some innovations apparently in McLaren's. It's all about the detail. Rear suspension, which is absolutely boomerang shaped now. Look, that's fantastic. I don't remember seeing that before.
That kind of upper wishbone.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
The upper wishbone, not straight, not a dog leg. It's almost a 90-degree boomerang between the line of the rear axle and where it meets the bodywork. That's lovely. Aerodynamic work is what it is. It's all about the installation of the Renault engine, as I understand, and the position where the upper wishbone has to connect to the rest of the monocoque. Do we? No, don't call it monocoque. Do we? What do we call it? Let's call it a body, shall we?
Or chassis.
Chassis.
I mean, fewer and fewer bits of the car do just one thing.
Not even the driver these days. He's doing two things. He's doing F1 and WEC.
Aerodynamic stuff. So that's taking that a little bit further.
Let's have a look at the car itself then. Call up the car itself, because that's just a detail.
Okay, let's see if we can find there.
The MCL 33.
There we go. There's that photograph of the real thing on track. First thing you think, well, where's the driver? Oh yeah, he's behind that huge halo.
Toilet seat.
Yeah.
It does look like someone's left the loo seat up, doesn't it, Richard?
Yeah, I still think of flip-flops.
Yeah,
but
definitely a flip-flop. Yeah.
We're going to have to live with it. It's here. It's not going away. And to be fair, the halo doesn't look as offensive on a moving car as it does on the stills. I think you get a slightly better view of the driver when the car is moving. But even so, it is a gopping bit of bodywork.
There's some fairly zany aero going on that McLaren, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
The little 2 rows of little sort of fins sticking up.
That, and there's something going on the rear wing that sort of looks almost like something's growing out of it.
Well, I've said it every year on the programme. Cars are becoming more and more organic. Those detail fins are like the stuff that you see on the wingtips of eagles, where those feathers are able to spread and close in order to trim airflow.
Actually, yeah, you're talking about that bit there, yeah?
Mm.
You're talking about the vertical fins that form the lower part of the rear wing end plate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the sort of one finger just sticking up sort of at the front. I was thinking it looks kind of like a hand.
It does, yeah.
Like the front of a snail.
And the cats.
It does, you're right.
The barge boards at the side, which have now become like the profile of a cartoon of a cat. It's extraordinary, the detailing. You're right. And it starts at the front wing, doesn't it?
And at the front, the vertical pieces that rise up from the front wing to the nose, the slots in there that are allowing air to go into the centre line of the car. The organic sort of roundness of
it's almost Giga.
The way there's a form. Yeah, it's very...
Almost Giga, isn't it? Like
Geiger.
Geiger. You say Geiger, do you?
I think. Yeah. I don't know.
But it's the right colour papaya. Hooray! It's the right orange this year. Last year it was the wrong one. Also, on the subject of colour, I noticed that McLaren have chosen not to colour their halo in body colour. They've left it black. Now, I would imagine if you're looking through the halo, that central pillar and anything that's visible to you as a driver, if it was black, it would be more invisible to the driver than any other colour. However, some teams have coloured their halos in the body colour, like Williams have got it white. That must be awful. But so why don't they paint it black on the inside and the body colour on the outside, I want to know.
Well, maybe they do. Obviously, we're just looking at the McLaren here, but if you're looking at a photograph of the car, I think all the pictures that I've seen of the cars with halos, I'm getting a trackside spectator's perspective view of it. I'm not getting the driver's view of it.
Yep.
So I can't see what colour they've painted the inside of that halo. But I think you're right that black is the colour that makes the halo disappear just a little bit better than any other colour does. So,
have you seen the Amazon documentary about McLaren last year?
I was going to bring that up, actually, because, yes, I have. And it's terrific.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Quite extraordinary access to the team. Because, as we know, didn't go well last year. And it only covers the run-up to the start of the season. Notionally, it's focusing on Stoffel van Dorn and his first season as a proper race driver with them.
Can we pause for a moment to allow everyone to sing the song in their head?
Sure.
There it is. Thanks. Yep.
So it's got a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, including the big moment when everybody sort of comes to gather around one of the workshop bays for the first firing up of the new Honda engine. It's like, the last 2 seasons have been very good, but don't worry, it's going to be fine this year. Whole new design. Here we go. Ready? And nothing happens. It's just this sort of ticking and clicking and nothing happens. And the air visibly chills in the room. It's just full of things like that. It's horrendous.
To be fair to Honda, I wouldn't be surprised if, given the complexity of the engines and the integration...
Oh, I'm sure that happens all the time.
I'm sure that kind of thing.
Yeah. And they did get it going eventually.
Exactly.
It just seemed to speak volumes about the general sort of way things were going. Yeah. Big, here we go! Oh, no.
But the access was terrific. And I thought across the board they were all really quite candid about...
Amazingly so.
The way things were going, what they expected, difficulties they were having. The only disappointment to me really was that it didn't go any further than the first test day, because it would have been fantastic if that same crew with that same access had
amazing.
Then gone into the season.
They probably did, but decided not to air it.
At what point did McLaren go, no?
Maybe, yeah.
Do you know, something that was fascinating to me was that, did you notice they fuzzed out certain things?
Yes.
So obviously McLaren/Honda had some kind of approval over all the footage that was used, because they fuzzed out most of the powertrain when it was exposed in the chassis.
It looked to me as if it was a Honda rather than a McLaren thing, because the things that I sort of tagged as I was going along as being fuzzed out, what's going on there, they all seem to be engine bits.
Well, except, and I don't know whose remit this was for, I think McLaren's, the bolt that secured the gearbox to the engine, I think it was. It didn't marry up properly. They needed to redesign
they had to
and when they were showing a close-up of the part in question, they'd fuzzed out the middle bit of a single bolt.
Wow.
I mean, the bolt's, probably about sort of 3 inches long, but nonetheless, they fuzzed out the middle bit.
Not the ends, just the middle. That was the important bit.
Something secret about the middle of that bolt.
Amazing.
It's extraordinary.
Some kind of damper on there or something.
Also, the other thing that amused me about that show was that everybody else obviously just spoke to camera in English and they used excerpts of their interviews. Only Eric Boulier, still speaking English, was subtitled.
Yeah, I noticed that. Since you mentioned this, since you mentioned things that we noticed, I assume that was because they're thinking about an American audience. Yep. On which note, Michael Douglas doing the commentary. I mean, bless him, does a pretty good job. But Renault,
I know everything was wrong. Stoffel van Dorn. It's just like you couldn't get anyone.
Can you not have somebody when they're doing the voice recording in there to say, Mr. Douglas? No, actually, you pronounce it Renault.
Yeah,
they pronounce
it's extraordinary, isn't it? Absolutely.
It's for the Canadian audience.
Everything was wrong.
A French person might say Renault, but Michael isn't French, so he does not have that excuse.
It just sounds wrong.
He's got a Welsh wife. That might be the excuse he needs. But talking of Renault, Renault, pronounce it correctly, it doesn't sound right to me. A McLaren Renault. McLaren Ford, McLaren Honda, McLaren Mercedes, McLaren Renault. It's just odd.
But we'll get used to it if the car's quick.
Yeah.
You know?
And they seem confident and they seem happy, and that's usually a good sign. Maybe it's just relief.
Well, what's happened so far? I mean, they did a decent number of laps in testing, given their difficulties with a wheel falling off Alonso's car.
Yes.
They managed to turn enough laps.
Okay, let's look at another car.
Okay, let's have a look at the Alfa Romeo Sauber.
Well, isn't that an Alfa Romeo, Richard?
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, me too.
It's just, I don't get this.
It's about as much an Alfa Romeo as the Red Bull is an Aston Martin.
Yes, there's more and more of this, I suppose, isn't there, this season? And it's a bit disingenuous. But hey, you know,
I mean,
it's not new, is it, really? There's been a lot of this shenanigans. I've only just noticed that, as well as all the stuff on the engine cover, which I do like, that's a nice colour,
I can say,
rich.
It's good to see that
rich
logo
red.
On,
I guess
the
so.
car.
But then also there's the full colour Alpha logo on the nose, as well as the white one on the engine cover. Well, I don't know what else to say about that. It's just Sauber need to pull their socks up, don't they? Because we relied on them to be the best of the midfield, and they're not even that. They're sort of like thumping around at the bottom.
They were the slowest team, I think, last year, even behind Haas, bless them. Poor old Sauber, who've had some great moments in the past. But they've done some interesting detail work on the air intake behind the driver's head there. Now, the halo is a critical addition to the cars. It's messing up the airflow into the air intake in a big way. And if you look at the halos, there's a little, what almost resembles the sort of what we call slats above the wings on something like a tiger moth, which manages the airflow and keeps it attached to the wing.
A little bit like you see when planes come into land. They often have a little slat that extends from the leading edge of the wing.
Yeah,
and you can see
it.
that if you're looking out along the wing. Yeah.
Helps it work at lower velocities.
A mini wing pops out on the leading edge, and this is rather like that on the Halo. There was one on the McLaren as well.
Yeah, a number of them. Not all of them, but a number of them have it. But I'm interested to know, look at the way that the air intake works. There's sort of two levels to the air intake. It's got like a lowered scoop at the front and a higher scoop at the back for the Alfa Romeo. Very curious. I'm wondering if that is a function of trying to get the airflow right as it comes off the Halo. And again, that central support pillar that we saw last year, which Caterham had many years ago, is on the Sauber this year. So it's an evolution. But I like the aero detail. I love all that. And as we're so far into the programme, should we take a break here and come back and discuss the rest of the field in a moment?
The F1 team bosses are ready for you in the meeting room, Mr. Carey.
Super duper. Oh, and Peter, book the moustache trimmer for this afternoon, would you?
A full session, Mr. Carey?
No, just the 2 hours. Right. Gentlemen, good morning.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so the weather today was pretty bad. No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
So, because of the weather, I'm proposing that we extend testing until Friday.
No, you're not.
Yes, he is.
Do y'all find that acceptable? No?
Yes, you do.
No, they don't.
Oh, come on, guys. Can't you agree on anything?
No.
Nope. Fine.
Aha! Y'all just agreed on that.
No, we didn't.
Sniff Petrol with Gareth Jones on Speed!
It's with enormous relief at this time of the year that we finally get glimpses of the cars. And something that happened this year, which I've never heard of, very Cardiff, isn't it? But I've not heard of before, was that some of the teams, when they showed the launch car in the studio shots, it wasn't even the car that they are testing. It was last year's body shell with some modern aero bits on it. And in the case of Red Bull, I believe they photoshopped out some of the aero on the car so that people couldn't see it. I mean, that's a new thing for this year, to keep it secret. And it's only when the cars emerged in Barcelona that you actually see all the bits.
Yeah.
And we're looking now at this year's Ferrari, which is called the SF71H, which, enough respect to Ferrari, they've painted their halo in body colour. It's red and it's got the little Scuderia Ferrari shield right on the, the Y front bit of it, which is cool, isn't it? It's just cool.
I think that makes it look particularly terrible because it's just drawing attention to it, yeah.
Oh, I like it.
I mean, well, if you were looking at it sort of on its own, in a context where it wasn't right in the middle of the car, right on top of the driver's head, yeah, I think it would look like it would be a nice, sensuously shaped bit of carbon fibre in a very pretty colour with a lovely logo in the middle of it. But stuck right there, it's
obscuring.
It's spoiling the view. But interestingly, you're talking about, wouldn't you paint the back of the thing black? On this image, it does look as if the inside of the halo is in black, and it's the outer part that is in the body colour.
I hadn't spotted that before.
They've done that.
They've done that, yeah.
So yes, I expect all the teams are probably doing that.
Ferrari had some real innovation with their side pods last year. They had these sort of high side pods, which are almost like air intakes on a... I'm thinking of the Bristol...
Brabazon?
Not the Brabazon, no, the... what was the bomber with the rotating bomb base?
Beaufighter.
Not the Beaufighter, the... It'll come to me in a minute. Anyway.
Well, I actually thought they looked a little bit like... now, I can't remember aeroplane name as well. Cold War bomber. Big tubby thing.
Victor.
Became Victor, yeah.
Yeah,
like
a bit like the Victor, yeah. Yeah. They've done incredible work with the barge boards around the side, which curve round. They go from vertical to horizontal, and they're above the air intakes. I've never seen anything like that before. More complex than ever.
It's complex, yeah, although you were talking about how organic the McLaren looks and how organic a lot of the little aerodynamic bits are. Apart from the front wing on the Ferrari, really kind of old school and analogue, basic and geometric compared to the shark-like and snail-like curves of the McLaren.
The wing mirrors are interesting.
Look at that rear wing. The way the rear wing end plate on that Ferrari goes, it's much simpler than the McLaren. It comes in, but it doesn't split into these separate strands as it goes down.
I believe there are new rules concerning the Venetian blind slots you can have in the end plates of the rear wing this year to enable more sponsorship. They limited the amount that you can cut away, I believe, a slight change.
How many teams are really afflicted by a problem of not having enough space for all their sponsors? Come on.
Look at the McLaren, it's naked, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, that Ferrari's not overburdened with other people's logos, is it? Well, they got Ray-Ban on the side there, sort of the
Ray-Ban, the Novo.
But it makes no difference to Ferrari because Philip Morris own all the bodywork area on the Ferrari. They own it all, and they pay a fixed fee or a negotiated fee to Ferrari, and they subsell everything to other sponsors.
Really?
Yeah. So despite all these other names of partners and stuff, it's actually Philip Morris who pay the sponsorship for the Ferrari F1 car.
Well, that's interesting. I thought you were going to say it's because they get 100 million quid from F1 just for being Ferrari.
Look at the wing mirrors. They've got these strange slots, almost as if the wing mirrors are hollow in the centre. I want to know what that's all about. I've never seen that before.
I mean, my first thought looking at it, they looked to me as if they had LEDs in there somehow, as if they were going to be, indicators or headlights, which obviously they are not.
Headlights in the mirrors.
Yeah, that would be kind of...
That's a good idea.
Of course it's not.
And then you could just flash someone when you want to go by.
Or Vettel could have messages that says things like, really?
Honestly, Charlie.
Honestly, yeah. So, this could be the car that wins the championship this year, because there are those who say that...
Well, you sound like Ferrari.
But last year, Ferrari threw it away. They had a very quick car, and they completely messed up on a number of occasions and could have seriously challenged.
They could have made it much harder for Mercedes.
Yeah, so let's wish them well, because we won a championship. Who are the other championship contenders?
Well, let's have a look at the Mercedes next.
Yeah, okay. Oh... Familiar though, isn't it? This is the, what do we call the Mercedes? The W9.
W09.
Or W09. Yeah, or W09? I don't know. I never know. Familiar? Long, isn't it?
Isn't it called the W09 and they've put the EQ name into it because that's what all of Merck's electric cars are going to be called.
Is that right?
Oh, really?
EQ sub-brand.
Ah.
I hadn't picked that up.
I think it's something like that. I mean, all of these cars have official names are often quite complicated.
Unwieldy.
I think Red Bull is called like the Aston Martin Red Bull RB something Aston Martin. It's just it's insanely complicated. I'll check it.
They're doing it on purpose now, just to wind us up, aren't they?
As long as when Aston Martin actually start building an engine and putting it in the cars, they can have their name on the car as many times as they like.
But I'm not sure they ever will.
It is supposed to be part of the plan, though, isn't it?
They're
Supposedly
looking into
part
it.
of their plan.
It's what they've said. They're looking into it. They've employed some people, ex-Ferrari people, to look into it. But because of the resistance by the incumbents, the F1 engine manufacturing incumbents at the moment, I don't think the next generation of engine rules are going to be sufficiently, for want of a better word, simple or primitive enough for Aston Martin to want to be able to come in, because they can't catch up with the technology that the other teams have already engineered and developed.
Yeah, if you're a team that spent several years trying to get on top of building a reliable and powerful engine under these rules, why would you too easily agree to making it too easy and cheap for somebody else to come in and possibly do better than you?
The Mercedes is called the F1 W09 EQ Power Plus.
Power Plus, is that like
Let's just call it the W09. I think that's...
What a shame there isn't a Ford. We could have the Popular Plus version, couldn't we, again?
It looks to me quite a lot like last year's car. That's an evolution of last year's car.
Well, I think, I might be speaking out of turn here, but I think that last year's car was generally considered to be quite good. So
didn't do too bad.
Don't mess with the formula, I guess, would be their philosophy.
Although the side pods are a bit more like what Ferrari had going last year, those sort of high-level Venetian blind slot
that kind of
variety.
bends over the top of it. That's what I'm thinking of there. Yeah.
There you go. That might be, if it isn't the Ferrari, it's going to be the Mercedes. I doubt if it'll be anyone else. Should we have a look at the Red Bull? Because that's the next contender, isn't it?
Red Bull RB14.
Yes, RB14. Now, this is the car that was disguised using Photoshop for the launch, which is absolutely genius, I think.
Which bits did they disguise?
The aero extensions around the side pods were all rubbed out. They were there, but they were rubbed out, apparently.
Because the one thing that leaps out to me about that design, particularly knowing that they photoshopped those bits, is that they've got something similar going on to what Ferrari and McLaren have got going on, with this sort of 90-degree bend from an upward coming over the side pod.
Yeah.
But they've cut out the middle of it. It's as if they've
there's a bit
chopped
missing.
The very top bit of the vertical board, leaving a wing protruding out from the cockpit just over the side pod.
But apparently Red Bull, I almost said Aston Martin, apparently...
Well, the Aston Martin name is plastered in huge letters all over the car in several places, so easy mistake to make.
They've been experimenting with the aerodynamic additions around the side pods. They've tried 3 different configurations, quite dramatically different, over the 1.5 days running or whatever they've had so far. So either Adrian Newey's still got lots of ideas. They said they'd deliver the car early so they could get it hammered, but I think he's still changing his mind about things and delivering things, development right up until the last possible second. That's still very Adrian Newey, despite what they said they were going to do, isn't it?
I do like the look of it. The livery of that Red Bull is pretty sharp. It's a good-looking car.
Will it be faster than the McLaren with the same engine? What do you think, Richard?
Wait and see. Probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I don't know what I'll say. Yeah. So that car is...
Two people say probably. There we go.
I just had this and I've lost it again. This car is called the Aston Martin Red Bull Racing Tag Heuer RB14 Snappy.
Really?
Again.
Tag Heuer get a mention?
Oh,
because of the engine. Yeah, his badge.
Well,
no mention of Renault there. Doesn't say Renault on the body anywhere. Doesn't, does it?
No.
Okay, so who's going to be the quicker of those 2 drivers this year? Who's going to score more points? Is it going to be Max or Ricciardo?
Too close to call, I think.
Yeah, I saw someone the other day, so they've got the most sort of competitive and consistently brilliant driver pairing in the whole of the grid, and that's probably right, isn't it?
Yeah, I think...
Oh, come on, what about Stroll and the beast from the east, Sirotkin?
I mean, if you're going to pick just one driver, you're probably going to pick Lewis or maybe Hamilton, Fernando Alonso. Yeah. But if you're going to pick 2 drivers who are currently in the same team, you pick those 2 easily.
Good argument.
They are both people who can win races.
Yeah.
Talking of the beast from the east, let's have a look at the Williams, because if any car has changed more dramatically than anything else from last season to this season, it's probably this one, because Paddy Lowe has got his very clever fingers all over this car. And doesn't it look long, or is that simply a function of, for some bizarre reason, the lower third of the car is painted black.
It's a very flattering colour, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Which makes it look longer, doesn't it?
I think it's optical illusion. I
Yeah,
think
also
it's-
this picture we're looking at is a sort of, because it's all the other ones we've seen are sort of front 3/4. This is a high, almost profile shot. But yeah, it does look quite long.
Just one thing about the livery and sponsorship on this. Aren't Martini pulling out?
Yes.
Yeah.
2019 is their last year, I think. So it's
they
been nice
will,
having
they
them
will
back.
Still be in for this. They will still be on for this year. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but they'll be left with JCB as their sponsor. They'll have to start painting their cars yellow like
And also
Jordan.
Rexona, which is...
Rexona?
Yeah, one of those F1 sponsorships that you buy in foreign supermarkets.
It's a Spanish something, aren't they? What are they?
It's Sure deodorant is what Sure deodorant is called, I think, in the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Of course, the
Yeah.
tick.
And
yeah,
I
of course,
think even
yeah.
in past years, haven't they, at the British Grand Prix, repainted it with
Sure.
So it
Yes,
says Sure.
they have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
everyone
they
in Britain
have.
goes,
Yeah.
oh, that's what Rexona is. Right, yeah.
That does
In
happen.
fact, now that you're joking with memory, didn't they even have some really bad Shaw TV adverts with Williams drivers
Yes,
a
I
few
think they
years
might
ago?
have done, yeah.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Because
Anyway,
I'm worth it.
moving swiftly
Oh,
on.
no, that was
No,
Alessi,
that's
wasn't
L'Oreal.
it? Yeah,
It's,
yeah. Alessi did some L'Oreal adverts, I seem to remember.
I think
It was,
Schumacher did as
Schumacher
well.
did, yeah, with very bad voice dubbing.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get the lead
Very
throw.
nice.
Lead
back of the
throw.
head.
When I get really sweaty, I spray myself with Rexona. The Sergei Sirotkin. I'm going to call him the Beast from the East from now on because he's the most Eastern driver in F1. Can we call him that from now on?
I think so, yeah, why not? Well,
You're going to say no, Richard, aren't you?
well, he kind of needs to be really good, really impressive to
He's not
be
bad at
called
all.
Beast from the East. Mm-hmm. You know,
Yeah.
rather than just driver that's making the numbers
the
from the
casher
East.
from
Cash
Russia.
cow from
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
the
no,
cash cow from Moscow.
But we shouldn't.
That's
but,
what
no,
it
but,
is.
no, he's bringing money, but he has done well.
Yeah.
He's not slow.
He was a competent F2 driver, or GP2.
Yeah, they could have found a quicker driver, but he's still pretty good, given that they needed somebody with money, I guess.
Claire Williams is getting quite narky about people saying that
Yeah,
they've got
well-
two pay drivers. She was interviewed again this week. So it's getting a bit ridiculous now. Everyone stop focusing on this. Shoot, get out. No cake for you.
Give us something else to focus on
Well,
then.
let's have some good Williams results, and I'm sure that'll.
We'd like that. Okay,
Yeah, we
let's
would.
have a look at
Renault, Toro Rosso, Renault. How about
Yeah,
that?
Renault. Yeah, let's have a look at the Renault because this, I think, looks amazing. Because from certain angles, if you look at it in profile, it looks like a black car. You look at it from the nose, it looks like a yellow car. I like that because it hints back to that strange and mysterious period when Renault were pretending to be Lotus. Do you remember? And it's allowed that to manifest itself. But again, the halo is black in this car with a yellow underside.
I don't think that's a yellow. I think that's yellow reflecting
Yeah?
in the gloss there. Yeah, because if you look at the other
Oh,
side,
yeah,
there's no
okay.
yellow there. I think that's a reflection. So I think it's
Hulk and
black
sights.
facing the driver.
Two great drivers. Something we haven't mentioned before, the new rules on the shark's fin. The shark's fin no longer extends all the way to the rear wing. It has to be cut away, and that's really helped things, hasn't it? It's a lot better.
It has, yeah. On the whole, the better looking cars were the ones that did that in any case. So it's good that they've made that little change.
That's got its sort of high intakes in the side pods, a bit like a Handley Page Victor.
Yeah. Handley
Yes,
Page.
there you go.
Yes. Lovely.
Quite organic around the side pods, isn't it? Again, that's sort of something that's sort of wrapping around the top and sides of the side pod, but it's curved rather than doing a 90-degree thing.
Yeah, it's following the body form,
And it's
isn't
a
it?
bit smaller than the McLaren and the Ferrari.
Also, in this picture, that only on one side it looks like there's a sort of tuning fork sticking up.
Yeah,
yeah.
but this is the problem with a lot of these pictures with so much black carbon fibre going on.
Oh, I
'cause,
see
you
where
know,
it is on the other side.
You see it on this side
Yeah.
because it's against the lighter background, but then on this side of the car, because it's against more black bodywork,
Yeah.
you can't see the black bodywork that's in the front.
They're doing all right for sponsors, aren't they? Look, they're quite busy on there. They've got a few things.
Yeah.
Look, Mapfre. Now, what's Mapfre? We're going to find out that's like what cheese is called in the rest of the world.
French mapping company? Or
Could be. That's a good name for a French mapping company. Yes, we map
Like, you
the
know,
French.
it would be-
We're called Mapfre.
They're in France, there you go. Actually, no,
No, wait, we found some in Canada as well. What do we do now?
it'd be carte
Français.
But
Français,
I
okay.
bet the Infinity badge on the side isn't actually paid for by anything at all. That's come...
No, that'll be a little...
What do we say in English? I was going to speak Welsh then. Rhadag am ddim, free and for nothing. from the Renault House of Advertising.
House of Renew.
Well, that's a Renault.
But they're doing all right. They're good. Yeah.
Bell and Ross. Tiny
and
one there.
again,
Estrella on the side.
Yes, yeah. Got Castrol. That's good. I guess that comes with Renault, Pirelli, and Microsoft.
T-Mall?
Microsoft haven't paid very much money, have they? Because they've only got a little logo on the front. But then old Mapfre.
Can't even see it. Where's the mic? Oh, I see. Yeah, there's
It's tiny.
squeezed in between the Pirelli and the Mapfre.
Oh, sorry, we
logos at the
can't
front.
afford any more. Really? Yeah, we're only Microsoft.
Yeah.
That's really weird. Whereas Mapfre are chucking their money around.
And the real anomaly, the one that just doesn't work for me at all with this paint scheme, is Castrol. On a yellow and black car, you've got Castrol's lovely red, white and green. It's the wrong colour, isn't it?
Could you do a monochrome version of your logo? No.
Yeah.
What would be the point of that? Because you're making our car look rubbish. Like that McLaren Senna, have you seen today or yesterday? They announced this sort of special one they're going to show off at the Geneva show next week. And it's got yellow, funnily enough. It's black and yellow, but then it's also got blue wheel nuts on one side with green brake calipers. It looks bloody awful.
Yeah, don't like some of that.
Okay.
Next one. We had the Renault Toro Rosso.
Poor Toro Rosso with their Honda engines, although it seems to have worked so far.
But
Sorry, chaps, this just in.
Yeah.
Mapfre.
Yeah.
Mapfre.
Go on.
You'll never guess
He's been
what.
searching on
French
his phone.
mapping company.
They're the third largest insurance group in Latin America.
Oh, yeah.
They're actually... Oh, wait a minute. Mapfre
Wait,
Insurance.
and we haven't heard of them?
I
How
beg
did
your
that
pardon.
happen?
No, sorry. They're headquartered in Webster, Massachusetts, but they've since been acquired by Mapfre SA, which is a Spanish company. Oh, God.
Have you not been keeping up with the South American insurance market?
Well, I mean, there's only so many hours in the day, Zog, and the copies of South American Insurance Monthly are stacked up in the
Well, you
downstairs
need
loo.
to catch up on your
I
reading.
really feel silly now.
Never mind.
What, Uruguayan Norwich Union? They're my favourite, yeah. I was going to say Red Bull. Toro Rosso in their lovely luminous, well, what do we call that blue? It's not marine blue, is it? It's
Pearlescent, is it?
I'd say
Has it
that's
got a
almost
touch
purple.
of...
That's sort of almost Milky
Yeah.
Bar. Not Milky Bar, what am I talking about?
Cadbury's, Dairy Milk.
Cadbury.
Milk.
It is
Dairy
Cadbury's.
Milk. Cadbury
Yeah,
purple.
it is, isn't it? Where's the Cadbury sponsorship
It's got
on
that
there?
luxurious glass and a half in every...
It does. It looks like that car is made with a lot
Every
of
bar.
milk in the bodywork.
And was it Adam Faith who used to sing the Little White Bull? Because it's not a Red Bull, it's got a white bull on the side. Was it Adam Faith who sang Little White Bull? Little White Bull. No, it wasn't Adam Faith, was
Tommy
it? Tommy Steele. Thank you,
Yes,
Tommy Steele.
yes.
Yeah, Little White Bull. Will they be quicker than Sauber?
Honda may finally have their together. Who knows? They certainly had a better test this week than McLaren had this time last year.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they be looking forward? Good luck to them. Let's hope it works out.
And in the last 24 hours, I believe Renault have given an ultimatum to Red Bull to say, you have to tell
Find
us...
out what Mapfre means, or we're just not speaking to you.
They say, you've got until May to tell us whether you want Renault engines next year.
Oh, right.
Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with a Honda. So they've got till May to make that Toro Rosso work. Right, we've got a couple of minutes to talk quickly about the two remaining cars. We'll come to the Pink Panther last of all. Let's do the Haas, which I didn't realise was Dutch for hare. Did you know that? Hare, as in big long rabbit, which is why they've got a picture of a rabbit on the side of the car.
Now, also, Ferrari have just announced the road car, that 488 Pista, which is like the replacement for the 458 Stradale, the hardcore version of the mid-engine car. Pista, unfortunately, they didn't seem to check this out. In certain countries, I think in Eastern Europe, Pista means piss.
Well, who's driving it? Is it going to be Kimi? He's going to be driving that car on the adverts?
Sure, he did. Well,
There's a long tradition of car
Pista
companies
artists.
not entirely understanding what their names mean.
Mostly, though, they check it.
Every
and then,
country.
Yeah,
but
mostly. But yes,
you know,
this is a new one.
But maybe it's actually quite hard to pick a word that isn't rude in some language somewhere.
Probably, yes.
Haas aren't going to light up the grid. Mind you, they've got a current Ferrari engine now rather than last year's Ferrari engine, so they might do all right. Will they be better than the Toro Rosso or the Sauber? Probably.
It'd be nice if they did put a good showing in, because they've had flashes of good performance along the way, but really Haas has been a bit of a disappointment, and it'd be nice to see them actually stepping up and, looking a bit more respectable, I think.
This is what, their third year now, and to be fair, it's really hard to catch up with the other teams in F1, even if you've had Dallara design the car on behalf of Ferrari for you. You know what I mean? Even so, it's tough. It's a big ask.
And we're talking about sponsorship. I mean, I can't see any...
Well, Richard Mille chucks his money around, doesn't he?
He's on everything, isn't he? Yeah.
But that is starting to look a little bit like an old BAR in livery terms.
Yeah.
it is.
Not a bad thing. Okay,
Anyway.
and the final car that we haven't looked at yet, the Pink Panther this year's Force... Well, is it a Force India? Because it doesn't say Force India on the car, and by the time we get to Melbourne, it's in fact, possibly even by the time this programme is in your ears, they may have adopted a new name. It could be Force One, it could be Malia Squad, it could be anything, couldn't it? It could be the Pink Panther, it could be the Black Panther, I don't know. What were they going to call themselves? But I like the addition of the extra white on the car rather than being totally pink. The white has made it look a bit Battenberg to me. Does it look like a slice of Battenberg cake to you, this?
Battenberg has yellow, doesn't it? Yellow and pink?
It does, yeah. Yellow and pink. But
so if it crashes into the Renault, then, Battenberg.
Battenberg.
I mean, it looks a little bit sort of, I don't know, slapdash, the livery to me. It's a bit messy. Yeah. It's just all over the place.
There's a lot going on.
A curve here, a straight line there, a wodge of red down the back there.
I'm just checking out their sponsors. Look, but down there on the side, they're sponsored by someone called Ravenol. What's that?
Ravenol.
I'd never even heard of Ravenol.
Ravenol.
The logo doesn't give any clue.
No.
It sounds
what the company might be.
It sounds like an ointment
yes.
that you rub into your tongue to stop you from being hungry. Are you hungry? Try Ravenol. Reduce that ravenous feeling. That's almost certainly what it is.
Is that something that exists?
No.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, you should invent it.
Yeah.
Call it Ravenol. Oh, no, you can't.
I think amphetamine's more us to the trick.
Yes. That's a good point. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe Ravenol sell amphetamines. They've got there's a sponsor on the other side that says Big Dave.
BWT, Sahara, Claro, they were...
Hype, don't know what they do. Maybe it just says Hype. Maybe they're just writing.
Hype is an energy drink.
Words on the car now.
Hype's an energy drink. BWT is water, I believe.
Yes, that's the pink, isn't it? Pink is BWT's colour.
Very good.
Kingfisher.
That's the beer.
The beer, we know that.
Well, and more than just a beer, it's a group of companies, like Virgin.
True.
Is. Yeah.
And a Japanese sponsor, W66, with a couple of Japanese characters.
Oh, that's what
there.
Ravenol's called in Japan.
Oh, of course.
Now we know. That's it then. We've seen the grid, the entire grid. Okay, Zug, who's going to win the championship? Which team? Based on one day's testing in a bit.
I think probably Mercedes and Lewis again. I think
not Bottas. Bottas won't beat him.
No.
Right, Richard.
One of the Lotuses.
I wonder which one he means.
This has been brought to you from 2000.
Or Ligier, I'd like them to win.
Ah, yes. 40 could win it this year if we're lucky.
I don't know.
Ligier would be a popular winner.
Probably be Mercedes, won't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's it. You've been listening to Gareth Jones on Speed. He was Zog.
Goodbye.
He was Richard.
Goodbye.
I was Gareth. And following the tradition of Gareth Jones on Speed, with the show released closest to St. David's Day, I do something in Welsh for you. So here's a quick and dirty short Welsh song about the best known Welsh driver of the moment, Elfyn Evans. Or if you're Welsh, you might take your father's name, the sort of patronymic thing. So he really should be Elfyn ap Gwyndaf. And that's what this song is all about. You won't understand it because it's in Welsh, but if you want to read the translation, it's on my website, garethjones.tv. I'll see you for the next show. Oh, and Dydd Gwyl Dewi hapus. Bye. Nôl yn y canol oes oedd yn brenu dyfna'n dyfu, gallwedd lamorwr Cymraeg ei eni ac ei sgwennu. Mae'n anodd I ddweud y gwirionedd am y gwrwr o ddogellau, ac fel unrhyw chwedl arall mae'n cychwyn cyn iddo ddechrau. Elfyn ap Gwyndaf, nid ein Evans olaf. Elfyn ap Gwyndaf, ti di'r cyfle yma. Mae hanes o'r goffennol am Gwyndaf tad Elfyn yn ennill Brydain i'r Cymraeg wrth ei yrfa tyna I derfyn. Roedd e'n paratoi ei fab I sgwennu pennod newydd I cario'r enwenwog ymlaen. Elfyn ap Gwyndaf neu efallai Elfyn Evans, ti di'r cyflymaf. Elfyn ap Gwyndaf, nid ein Evans olaf. Nid ein Evans olaf. I anfon e-bost aton, gweld lluniau, darllen y geiriau o'n caneuon, ymunwch am gwefan Facebook neu ddarganfod am gyfleoedd nawdd, ewch I garethjones.tv. Gwneir Gareth Jones ar frys yn Llundain gan Whizbang.
Gareth Jones on Speed!